and tell us all about Wonders and Worries.
Yes. My name is Jordan Rue, and I'm the outreach manager at Wonders and Worries, which is a Texas-based nonprofit that provides free professional support to children and teens who have a parent with any kind of life-changing illness or injury. So my background, I am a child life specialist, and I was in the field working at a hospital supporting pediatric patients for 6.5 years, and then I joined Wonders and Worries to help with outreach and spread awareness about the services that we offer. We support kids ages 2 to 18 who have a parent. It could be a cancer diagnosis, a traumatic brain injury, neurological conditions, a heart condition, any serious physical illness or injury we support. And all services are completely free of charge, regardless of insurance or income. Sessions are available in English and Spanish, and they're offered either in person at one of our offices or virtually in the greater Austin, greater San Antonio, and greater Houston areas. And we also have a lot of support options available on our website. Under our For Parents tab, we have some national support options as well, like a helpline and a teen app. So lots of support for everybody, even if you're not in our service areas.
Wow, that is a lot. A little bit about how it got started?
Yeah, so we were founded in 2001. We just celebrated our 20th anniversary. The first office opened in Austin, Texas, and our founders were certified child life specialists at a pediatric hospital. So a little background on child life specialists. They are professionals trained in the developmental impact of illness and injury. And most often they're only in pediatric hospitals. So if a kid goes to the hospital for surgery, a procedure, gets a new diagnosis, the child life specialist there is basically to break down all the medical information into age-appropriate language. So explaining a cancer diagnosis to a 3-year-old will look different than explaining it to a 10-year-old or a 14-year-old. So they know how to break down all that complicated medical lingo into developmentally appropriate language, and then helping the family as a whole cope with all the changes, the stress and uncertainty that can come with a diagnosis. So child life specialists are rarely found in adult hospitals. So children of adult patients don't typically have access to this very specialized service. So Wonders and Worries got founded because the child life specialist was getting a lot of calls to support kids of adult patients who were visiting their parents in the hospital, and no one really knew how to talk to them about what was going on. And it can be very overwhelming for parents too. Especially, if it is a cancer diagnosis or something chronic or terminal, they often don't know how to approach those conversations, how much to tell them, when to tell them, what language to use. It can be very stressful for parents to try and navigate on their own. So our founders learned that this is a huge gap in service as the kids who have a parent who's seriously ill. So that's how we got founded back in 2001. And since the first office opened in Austin, we've since opened 2 more Austin offices, an office in Georgetown, which is just north of Austin, an office in San Antonio, as well as an office in Houston, which just opened in 2020. So.
That's amazing. I love it when people know there's a need, figure out how to address it, and manage to not only survive but thrive. That is incredible. Congratulations. That is
and it's the only organization in the area that provides this type of support, child life support to kids of adult patients completely free of charge. There's no other organization that's offering that service. So it's a big need, and we want to know that everyone to know it's here because it's a free service for everyone.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. We will definitely get at the end of the interview hear all the ways that we can support that mission. But right now, I think it's important to note that last year there were a few blips in the radar. This thing called quarantine and COVID. So what did that do to present challenges, and then kind of what lessons have you learned going forward?
So we had to close our offices. Again, our population, a lot of the families, the parents are immunocompromised. So it was an at-risk population that we work with. The child life specialists that work with the families, there's definitely a lot of added stress on the kids and the family as a whole. But the kids doing school at home, they're just surrounded by their parents' illness all day, adding to the worries and the stress, the isolation. and also the worry about COVID-19 and
Mm.
exposing their parents to it if they were to leave or go visit with someone. So there's a lot of stress around COVID if their parent was already sick. We've also seen some parents weren't getting their mammograms or those kind of preventative tests. And so there's more later stage cancers that are showing up because during the pandemic, a lot of people were trying to avoid the hospital. But the good thing is we got virtual sessions going. So everyone had to learn how to do telehealth and Zoom calls and school at home, like over Zoom. So everyone kind of learned how to do that. And now we're able to offer virtual sessions moving forward. And that the virtual sessions allowed us to really expand our service area. So we serve, I believe, I don't want to mess, I think it's 33 counties across Austin, San Antonio, and Houston.
Wow.
So it's a full greater Austin area, full San Antonio, full Houston greater areas. And even if you're nearby an office, if it's just more convenient, sometimes transportation can be an issue or just rush hour or getting to an office in time. So that's just making it more accessible for a lot of people.
Wow, that's great. That's super great. I mean, so you've kept a lot of that going forward, and yeah, that's really unfortunate about later stage diagnoses. I'm sure that there are so many things still unfolding over the next years of effects of quarantine and COVID. So, but learning that and learning how to look forward, keep our eyes out will be a good idea. So, my goodness.
Yeah.
And I guess, with your fundraising and things like that, how did COVID change things there?
So one of our spring fundraising events got canceled. We turned it into a virtual. We always have an urban scavenger hunt in May. So we did kind of an online version of that in May of 2020. We luckily were able to still do our gala in 2020. That happens in February, so that happened right before.
So
October 2020, we had a skeet shoot. So every year we have a gala, an urban scavenger hunt, and a skeet shoot. In October of 2020, it was such a big open space outside. We were able to socially distance and wear masks and safely do that event. So that one worked out well. We had a virtual gala this past February. So that was new, and it was more of a raffle instead of a silent auction like we typically would do in person. But the community has been very generous, and people who are regular donors still donate, or there's people who wanted to contribute to some organization in some way, especially during this really hard time. There's COVID-19 specific grants we were able to apply for to help fund the virtual sessions because we still wanted to incorporate play. We always have play in all our sessions. That's the language of kids. They play through their experiences. They express themselves through play. So we mail kits with different therapeutic activity supplies to their door so that they have all the materials they need for the session that day. So we were able to get funding in that way too. But it's grants, donors in the community, and our three major fundraisers that keep all these sessions free for families.
That's amazing. I'm assuming you have a strong volunteer population as well?
We do have volunteers that help out mostly with the events. Sometimes we have sponsors that will sponsor one of the events, and then maybe it's team building with their employees. They'll come as a big group and donate their time to that event. So it's more around the events that we will need volunteers to help out with those.
And so you must have, so the child specialists are trained professional positions?
Yes, they are very seasoned professionals. I know in the Austin area, they have several years experience in child life, and a lot of them have worked at Wonders and Worries for 10, 15 years. So there's kids that have, they said there's one child who had a parent with a cancer diagnosis, and 2 years later, the cancer had come back, and the child went back to Wonders and Worries and got to work with the same child life specialist. So they were able to go back to someone that they already knew and had a relationship with. So there's a lot of consistency with that, and they're very experienced, and they really wanted to have these sessions by really experienced professionals who have a certification and can provide that high level of support to kids who are going through something so challenging with their parents.
Oh yeah. I don't want to be like dark or anything, but like such a formative time, and not being able to wrap their mind around something that's happening to their parent and not getting help with that probably, affects them for their entire life. I mean, no doubt.
I mean,
So,
for sure, every kid's going to have some big feelings and a lot of stress around their parent being sick. There's a lot of wonders that they have, a lot of worries, a lot of questions, and kids can be very hesitant to ask certain questions. A lot of kids worry about their parents, want to protect them, so they might not. They might worry about adding to their parents' worries or their parents' stress, because they can pick up on a lot and they sense that there's something going on. And a lot of kids don't want to add to it, so they often kind of try and figure it out on their own or hold it in. And parents, on the other hand, too, they don't want to worry their children. They want to protect their kids. They don't want them to worry or feel sad, or so they might withhold information thinking that they're protecting them, or maybe that their kids aren't picking up on as much as they really are. So then no one's talking, but then both ends, there's a lot of anxiety and stress. And oftentimes the unknown can be scarier, and kids can start piecing together information and kind of creating their own story of what's going on. It could be very far off from what's actually happening. And we've had kids ask if their mom got cancer because she got in trouble. So that's a very common misconception for preschool age kids, that illness is a punishment. That there's some kind of cause. Some kids are worried that it's contagious, whatever the diagnosis is, and it might not be. There's another child, her mom recently stepped on a bee right before being diagnosed with cancer. And so she had this bad bee sting, but then the daughter thought bees caused cancer and was terrified of bees. So we never really know what they're thinking, and they might be too afraid to ask certain questions, or even with all the big feelings, if they're younger especially, they might not know how to express and verbalize exactly what they're feeling. So at Wonders and Worries, we have an evidence-based curriculum that we use. It's 6 sessions long. There's 3 components. One is breaking down all medical information. So educating them on the illness, the treatment, and the side effects in language that makes sense to them based on their developmental stage. Giving them a safe space to just express all their feelings and help them really label and identify their feelings and how stress kind of comes out in their body, what's their typical stress response, and then helping them identify individualized coping skills that work for them. So everyone copes a little bit differently, and they might need different kinds of skills, and kind of like looking, what are they doing to cope right now? Sometimes there's different behaviors that are kind of new or not typical of that child. They're kind of doing things a little bit differently, or acting out in some way, or withdrawing or isolating. So they're going to find a way to cope. It might not be the healthiest, but if they can get support early on, that's the best, because they can be prepared for all the changes that are coming down the road, instead of kind of wondering and not knowing what's happening and kind of carrying that stress and all those worries alone.
Wow. Yes. I had a lot of thoughts there while you were talking, and it's just fascinating how kids, and I think of it as when children find out their parents are getting divorced and they think it's their fault.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, just in a kid brain, there's no reason they wouldn't blame themselves for their parents getting an illness. I mean, it's just incredible.
That's another common thing too. Like, I got in trouble at school, and now and I was upset, and then now my mom has cancer. I did something wrong, and that caused the cancer. I mean, they can just have the, most obscure ideas of what caused the cancer, and be holding on to that and worrying about it and stressing that they probably did something wrong, when really it had nothing to do with them. It was just random.
Right.
And we had another child whose mom was recovering from a heart condition and was very fatigued and tired, and so sleeping a lot. And the daughter thought that her mom didn't love her anymore because she wasn't as attentive, she wasn't as energetic, she wasn't playing with her, giving the same amount of attention, because she was very fatigued and recovering from treatment. And her daughter interpreted that as, I must have done something wrong, it's my fault, she doesn't love me anymore, and I'm going to try to be perfect and not mess anything up. And she just kind of carried that for several months, and her mom had no idea, because the child hid it so well. So she, again, like kids want to protect their parents and parents want to protect their kids, but it's a lot of big feelings and stress for kids to try and deal with on their own. So there's professionals out there that are trained in how to help kids navigate all these changes around illness, injury, hospitalization.
Wow. Well, you couldn't have named the entity any better. You know, it is all about wonders and worries. So, and how those play off each other. That is amazing. Talk about the YouTube video link you sent me before we got started.
Yes, so we have a video. It's here from one of our child life specialists. That's a video, one of our program director in the playroom at one of our offices, just giving a brief overview. She explains services very well. It's just a quick 2-minute video. And then we have a family story as well. We've got a lot of family stories. If you're interested in hearing more, there's different diagnoses that these families are dealing with, different age kids, but we do a story each year. So that's on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and type in Wonders and Worries, you'll see our channel pop up, and there's a lot of family videos in there. I shared one, it's the Fox family, and that mom had a breast cancer diagnosis. So you can hear their story if you're interested in getting their perspective.
I think that's great. I think you're really just helping people give a voice to things that if they're left quiet in your heart, they just grow to crazy levels, and that doesn't have to be that way. So
yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Is there anything I haven't asked you about yet that you would love to share?
I also shared the website link as well. So we do have a lot of resources on our website. At the top, there's a For Parents tab. There's a lot of information on child development. There's a recommended reading list. There's books around illness or grief, and then some specifically around stress and coping, which any kid could benefit from. There's parent videos. There's different activity ideas on there. There's a lot of information. We keep adding more to that tab as well. The website's also available in Spanish. There's a Spanish tab. So if for Spanish-speaking families, they can still have access to that information. And then just a call to action, I guess, too, if you know any families who could benefit from our support, please refer. On our website, there at the top right, there's a button that says refer a family. So there's different ways to connect, either by emailing, calling. There's also an online form that's really quick to fill out. Then we'll reach out to the family once we get that referral. If they're out of the Austin, San Antonio, and Houston areas, we have the helpline as well. That's 844-WE-WONDER or 844-939-6633. And anyone across the country can call that number and talk to one of the child life specialists for a free consultation. They can call that number as many times as they need and keep utilizing it as new changes happen. So that's available. We also are always looking to connect into the communities we serve. So we work really closely with medical professionals, with school counselors, with corporations that work with HR departments or benefits, employee wellness programs. So anyone you think that could know a family early in the diagnosis and help connect them to us, we are always looking to deepen those connections in the community so that we can spread awareness, so that families who are going through something like this know that we're here and can access support. And then if anyone wants to give or help participate in our mission, there's different ways, again, volunteering with one of our events. If you work for a company that's looking for ways to donate or sponsor, we always have sponsorship opportunities. We also have a donate tab on our website. So if you want to just give and donate to the mission, that's also available as well.
Wow, your heart, not only you guys have this huge heart, but you clearly are figuring out how to make this happen for free in 33 counties. Wow.
So we've got a really great team at Wonders and Worries and a lot of great supporters in our community that help make this possible. So we're really lucky.
Well, that's amazing, because we all know that at least cancer and many other things are just touching more and more families. So it's just, it's beautiful that there's some, in my mind, I just, thought of some people I'm going to share with, because it would be appropriate for them as well. So, gosh, this has been fantastic to talk about incredible work that you guys are doing. and just setting up families to manage one of the hardest things in their lives and go for
I love it.
I mean, makes me want to, yeah, okay. They're excited to fight with each other and have fun. Okay, so not to get distracted because I do that a lot. So I am so grateful for your time today and gosh, all you're doing all the time. So thank you for sharing all of that with us today. And thank you for everybody that watched. It's super amazing when you guys use your clicks and shares to get this out. Everybody knows someone that could benefit from this. And so just the right person hearing at the right time could make a lifetime of difference for someone. So just remember how important it is to like and share these videos, share them to your personal page.
Yeah, we do have a Facebook page and Instagram. Everything is just Wonders and Worries. Yeah,
Yes.
Please share the information. Again, it's free. So we want to make sure people know we're here. And you're right, everyone has known someone or will know someone that can benefit.
Yes. On Facebook, all the links are there being popped in there by my amazing Karen, my assistant Karen, who is amazing. She's got all of those popping in there. So anyway, thank you so much for watching or listening, however you consumed this. I have all my interviews over there on the Nonprofit Shoutout Interview YouTube. Just, spend some time listening to some positive stuff on Wonders and Worries YouTube or my YouTube, just to fill you up a little bit today. So thanks so much for watching.